Hello, Mark Parquette here, MLB DFS Weather. It's Saturday, July 23rd, so you can find all my stuff at Daily Fantasy Cafe and follow me for updates on Twitter at DF Cafe. Um, really a carbon copy of last night in terms of the weather. Several places to watch, none that I'm tremendously concerned about. You might say, well, that doesn't quite fit. We're in a classic summer heat ridge, not to go too into meteorological detail, type of pattern. Someone told me yesterday, well, it's too hot for thunderstorms. That's like for saying in the winter that it's too cold to snow. There's some reasons for why that's true, but there's no such thing as it being too hot to thunderstorm or too cold to snow. But there are factors that kind of played into it that make it seem that way. So, though many places, especially the heart of the country, the Mid Atlantic and the Southeast, are burning up, and even the northern tier is warm, it's not technically too hot to thunderstorm, but if the upper part of the atmosphere does get too warm, we won't have many thunderstorms. And that's what we're seeing right now. There's a rule of thumb in the mid latitudes, basically all of the United States, that except for tropical parts of Florida, southern Florida, there, that the cloud top or the cloud bottom has to be below 0 degrees Celsius, 32 degrees Fahrenheit, to form rain, to have it rain at all. If it's warmer than that, we don't have the processes in the atmosphere that will cause rain. It simply won't rain. It's not possible. In the tropics, it is, but not in the mid latitudes. And that's what we're seeing right now. About a mile up in the atmosphere, most places in the country are above freezing. And so when that's the case, it sort of is too warm to thunderstorm, but they could cool and it's really close. I know I'm going really off topic, but I really like uh, meteorology, and I can see I have my date wrong here, so I'm going to go fix that as soon as we're done with this video. Anyways, the game I'm most concerned about today is an afternoon game in this Pittsburgh. It seems to be some sort of weird convergence zone right near Pittsburgh that thunderstorms will fire this afternoon. Maybe the Laurel Mountains just to the east of Pittsburgh are helping these. Whatever the case, we're going to have to watch the radar closely. As we go through the afternoon, it looks like they slide off to the south-southeast, so it shouldn't be a huge deal here. But if one of these were to just sit over the stadium for a while, there could be a postponement. Probably not, but there could be some issues. And if this line's a little bit further north, then we have a little bit more issues as well. I had Pittsburgh at a 35% delay threat, 20% cancellation threat. All the other games here are much lower. Here's the continuation of that line. Pittsburgh's back here, if you can imagine it. And we have games this evening in Baltimore and D.C. You can see as they get into the coastal plain, the thunderstorms are really not nearly as organized, impressive, or as numerous. So certainly not really worried about a postponement concern, delay concern. I could see something. Seems like the concentration for thunderstorms may be slightly higher in DC than it is in Baltimore. Boston, same sort of deal as last night. There will be some showers and thunderstorms going through southern and central New England. Again, not a postponement threat because it's not a heavy band of concentrated rain. It will be moving in and moving out. And a lot of times as they get into the coastal plain of Boston, the city itself, they kind of die off, which is what happened last night. Detroit and Chicago, it looks like there's some weird thunderstorm complex that's going to approach the game, but hopefully stay to their north later in the game. The threat of this will probably keep the roof closed in Milwaukee, if you're curious about that. So just something to keep an eye on. This thing may not even be playing much of a factor as we go through the game or into the game, or it could be further south and there's a bigger factor. So we'll just have to keep that eye on that region. As of right now, it doesn't look like a huge deal. Kansas City, again, just a scattering and stuff. Certainly not a postponement threat. And last but not least, as we've seen the last few nights, Denver, there will be rain around. They do a great job at being able to play through some light rain or even some heavier rain that ends. And that's what happens during the summertime all the time. It's in the afternoon and evening, I should say. Showers and thunderstorms form in the Rockies, drift off them, weaken. It rains for a little bit in Denver, and then they're done. Very rarely does that lead to a postponement. Not concerned there really at all. Let's look at some of the great hitting environments. There's several that stand out. As I talked about, much of the country is really just burning up in terms of temperature. That means air density is low. That means balls are traveling. The three that look the best to me, where it's a combination of warm temperatures, wind blowing out, humidity is high, and in Colorado's case, you're high in elevation as well, is New York, Boston, and Colorado seem to be the best three to me, though several others, including Toronto, Pittsburgh, Baltimore, Washington, Chicago, Milwaukee, Cincinnati, all have good hitting environments, Kansas City, St. Louis, but the three that are best, in my opinion, are New York and Boston and Colorado. Good pitching environments, poor hitting environments. Oakland and Miami look to be the ones to target if you want to try to say that there's not going to be many home runs hit in the games because the ball's not going to carry. That's what I got for you today. I will continue to watch the radar. That's how we're going to have to handle it today. See if anything pops up. Like I said, Pittsburgh seems to be the biggest threat, followed by Washington, then Boston, and then we have a bunch of others that are bringing up the rear. And those others, just so you know, are Baltimore, Chicago, Kansas City, Colorado. Okay? Have a good one, and I'll talk to you later.